Okay. All right, so we're going to record the show and tell. All right. Can you guys see my screen? You see the green ball?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So I had forgotten that I don't have PowerPoint on here anymore. And then I tried to dump these into Word, and the margins were screwing me up. So it worked real well in Excel. So I've just made a whole bunch of different pages. And what I can do is just put this file out onto the website later on for posterity. So Jim, Sarah, you're up.
Oh, okay. So Steve, I watched your presentation and was inspired.
It looks like it.
So I used the Dremel with the little, I guess it's probably a 3/16-inch burr.
Okay.
And I burred the whole back of the bowl. It's cherry wood.
Yep.
And then I finished it with milk paint, burnished it to get the effect that you can see there. And then I put, I don't know, 2 or 3 coats of polyurethane on it, and I buffed it on the Beal system, and came out pretty well. First attempt.
How big is it?
With it.
How big is it, Jim?
It's about 6 or 7 inches, I guess.
So did you get to a point where you had to put it down and give your hand the rest?
Well, yeah, once.
That's very nice.
I love the looks of it. I love the color and the dimpling.
Is
Yeah.
that one coat, one color?
1 coat, 1 color, yeah. I wasn't quite sure how to approach it, but that's what I wound up with. I was going to try a second color, but then I decided not to. I think one of the problems with this approach, Steve, is you can get symmetrical with the little ball, and wind up with a lot of them that are in a row or up and down. So that was a bit of a challenge to try to keep them as random as possible. Any suggestion on that?
Yeah, just keep moving around, I mean, if you make 3 or 4 in a row, then you can literally just drop the Dremel into it again and kind of break them up.
Get drunk first.
Yeah, right. All right, you good? You good, Jim? Any other questions for Jim? Okay. We're gonna go to Jeff Schneiderman. Jeff Schneiderman, tell us about your new
nice.
stash.
Okay. So I was lucky enough a week ago to get a free pile of burls from a tree guy that took down a tree for my mother-in-law. So it's the first shot at trying to do a burl bowl and and lining it up so it's the sides are even. So I turned it between centers. Usually I'll put in a plate, but I turned it between centers, and just happy the way it came out in the center with the eyes at the bottom, and then I guess I call the rays along the sides of the bowl. So I was pretty happy the way it came out, and I just finished it with walnut oil.
Oh, looks great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Gorgeous.
Beauty.
Very, very gorgeous.
Yeah,
How
it's
deep
love it.
is that?
It's big too.
It's about 4 inches deep and about 12 inches across.
Very nice.
Awesome. Really awesome.
Like that.
So these came out of your mother-in-law's yard?
No, they were. My mother-in-law got a tree down in South Brunswick, and she told she talks to everybody. Told the tree guy that her son-in-law turns wood, and he said, "Well, send them over to my lot. I have a bunch of burls and wood been sitting there, and take what you want." I was
Oh
like,
man.
"All right." So I went over there and filled up the back of my truck with, like 7 big burls.
Where's this lot?
I can't tell you that. My secret source now.
So Jeff is going to be stingy with this stuff. All right, we understand.
I'm gonna have to make one for the guy.
That's right. I do.
All right. Okay, we're going to go up with Jim Beckwith next.
Well, that's a handmade tool that I used. It's a beading tool.
and I used it on the cherry plate that's going to be coming up shortly.
Okay. Oh, wait a second.
Oh, there's the cherry plate. All right, there you go.
How big is this, Jim?
Piece of cherry about 12 inches in diameter. I've had it standing in my garage probably for 10 years, and it was in somebody else's garage for another 10. I finally decided to go after it, and that's what I came up with.
So it's nice and dry. Good for
Very nice.
It was dry. I
Right.
used the beating tool kind of in a negative rake pattern.
Cool.
So
Well done.
that's the cherry platter.
Are you going to be doing some carving on it?
No, because of
You already finished?
the grain is just too nice.
Okay. Cool.
What did
All
you
right.
use for a finish, Joe?
I heard the question, but I didn't actually hear it.
What did you use for a finish?
3 coats of tongue oil, Minwax tongue oil.
Very nice.
I got
This
a
next-
question on the. Wait a second. I'm sharing my screen. Can you also see 5 pictures of you folks on top of the screen,
Yes.
or just the?
Mine's on the side.
Well, that's on your
Okay, so
palette. I
you-
only have the one that's speaking.
You can see yourself. Okay. All right, so
No, I
Jim-
can see like Jim.
Okay. Good. All right. So Jim, this is yours also. Very unique.
This is a walnut hollow form and with a walnut finial. It was intended to go to an event in Maine called a Celebration of the Maine Night Sky, which is not going to happen this year. So this was going to be my entry. The stars and what I consider the moon on the top of the finial are done with imitation gold leaf. It is a hollow form, and that's it.
The stars were carved with a Dremel or something, or?
Yeah, I don't have a Dremel. I have a master carver, but yes.
Okay,
Cool. Thank you, Jim.
nice.
Okay, our other YouTuber Jay is on.
Oh, all right. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, great. First of all, those that plate and that hollow form was amazing. But yeah,
Thank you,
this is I've only had one little top lesson from Bob, and again, thank you, Bob, for that. This is my first ball, and pretty excited about it. It's about 5.5
Hold on.
inches
Turn
wide.
off your microphones, please. A lot of noise in the background.
It's about 5.5 inches wide by 2 inches tall. The inside is about 1.5 inches deep. It's made out of okium. It's like an African wood. I got a box of exotic woods from Amazon, and this was my first piece that I turned.
Yeah, tell everybody about this box that you got.
So the box from Amazon was it was 20 pounds, but it comes 10 pounds each. I ordered 2 10-pound boxes worth of wood, and it came with all exotic woods, stuff I'd never, like this one, okium. I never heard of. It was very light. Actually, I thought it was a very soft wood, and it turned out to be very hard. And if you watch the video or seen it, you'll see how hard it was. I ended up having to go to Carbide Tools to cut it, but it's super light, and it was really a joy to turn. Inside the box came African mahogany, Sippo, some lace wood, Cabaruva, just some Japata, something like that.
Toba, I think it is.
Yep. So it was a nice mixture of different types of woods.
Just a general warning for anybody who's turning woods from Africa. The salt dust can be extremely toxic, and so I know that I'm allergic to Coca-Cola, and I stupidly cut a little bit for these knives that I've been making, and so that happened last Monday. and I'm just getting over the rash now. And this was a very short episode. The other 2 episodes I've had lasted up to 6 weeks. So recommendation is try to get a little, before you mess with these, first of all, check the toxic chart, go into wood toxicity and see if it's something that may hurt you. And then you might want to test it by doing a little bit of sand a little bit, put a little bit of the powder on your arm and put a Band-Aid over top of it. And if you get a reaction, you're not, that's something you should give away. Don't use that stuff. Zebra wood, and even I did some teak last year and I got the same reaction with teak. So it's really cool wood. It finishes great, but it could be extremely hazardous to your health, especially if you're not wearing a face mask and you inhale that stuff, you can hurt your lungs and you probably die from it. So be careful, guys. Okay, Jay. Jay has also
Thanks, Bob.
put out Jay has just gotten into pens now. And check his YouTube channel. Support your local YouTubers. All right, Mike Alley.
Hang on a sec. My son-in-law just started up the mower, so I'm going to close the windows.
Okay.
This is obvious to everybody what this picture is. I just added this to my Powermatic, but I just wanted to share. I'm in discussions at the moment with JPW, the Powermatic and Jet parent company. The quality is absolute crap. You can see the hinge point there. To get the tailstock swing away up when in the up position, I have to lift at least 1/4 of an inch to get it to locate on. There's like a tapered pin that it locates on. So the play is so bad. I know we have some blacksmiths in our group, but it's blacksmith tolerances on the machined pivot point. It's awful. And I went online and on the forum, and apparently about half the people that get them have the same problem. So it's a quality problem with Powermatic, which I'm surprised because the lathe is first class.
Right. So this was brand new because it looks used.
No, it's brand new. I did I did turn some stuff while it was on there. It's new.
There's no kind of adjustment with that, Mike?
No, you can see if you go to the other picture, you can see the hinge point, the tall. I mean, it moves up and down,
Okay.
but it also moves laterally. I mean, it is, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, it's just crap quality.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll do anything about it. I think they're avoiding me at the moment.
What did that cost?
$275 with the 15% off.
Wow.
It was 350 maybe, I don't know.
Where did you buy it?
It came, well, I bought it from Tool Up, but it comes directly from Powermatic. It's drop ship.
Yeah, if you wanted one that actually didn't have all the slop in it, then you had to pay the full price.
Yeah, apparently, I may just get a pin turned and see if I can, but I need to take it apart and check the tolerances. But I mean, it's at least 1/4 of an inch lift to get it up onto the tapered pin. And then once I do that, to get it to locate properly, I have to use a rubber mallet. And then to undo it, I have to use a rubber mallet to knock it off the tapered pin. It's a real fustercluck.
I'm surprised.
I agree. I'll tell you, I have the same problem. It's really difficult for me to lift it up to try and align it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it back on. It's tough.
How much does it weigh? It looks like it's about 60 or 70 pounds.
It's heavy.
You mean with the tailstock on?
Well, just the piece that you got.
No, it's probably 20, 30 pounds. It's not that heavy. It's
Is it
you know,
easier just to take the tailstock off and
yeah.
not have that?
Yeah, it's I've come to that conclusion. I mean, it slides on and off once I got it adjusted, but you have to adjust the on the tailstock itself. The lever, the lock-in lever. You have to undo the nut underneath because it won't slide over. The thickness of the ways on the swing away is slightly different slightly thicker than the on the lathe.
Right.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't recommend it anyway. So don't bother to buy one. I know some people have made their own on roll away, and I just thought with my government money I would buy something for my old age, but it wasn't a good investment.
It still looks very heavy to pick up. Just to swing it into position.
No, it's a spring activated, so it's not
easy. Yeah, it's easy actually.
Oh,
It
it is?
helps me because the thing is so heavy for me to be lifting it off and on would be very, very difficult. This
Right.
at least, when you get it up there, it's easy to pull up.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have very little.
Interesting. Cool.
If I come up with a solution, I'll let you know.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks. That's interesting. Cool. Thanks for showing that, Mike.
This one is
New toys.
a woodcut coring system that I purchased used. I paid $380 for it, shipped, and that's the first bowl I did. They recommend doing it with wet wood, but this was some dry old wood I had, and that's my first attempt. But I like the tool. I've got 20 burls I've got to core, so this will be very useful for that. But what I've seen so far, I like.
But I guess you have to do a lot of relief cuts. Or
No,
put it in a little bit, pull it out, right? You can't go all the way
I
in,
think,
right?
yeah, you feed in and out a bit like if you're pecking, with the drill.
Otherwise,
But
it jams up. Yeah. When did you get this, Mike? Mike,
yeah, I couldn't hear the question.
when did you get this?
January, February.
Cool.
Yeah, I was looking for one. Joe had got one, and I was interested in learning how to use them. So I saw this one and jumped on it. I thought, well, I can always sell it for the same money. I've got an extra tip to braze on if they wear out, but it was hardly used. And so far, I like it. I think it's New Zealand or Australia, one of those southern countries. But I like it.
Mike, it looks like it does multiple bowls at the same time. Is that true?
No.
Well, you split
That's
it up.
just to emphasize. There are two. There's one with two blades, and then this is the 3-blade version. The outer blade is the extra blade. I just put them on there so you could see the different sizes, but you only can do one at a time.
Okay.
What's the brand?
Well, that's what they recommend, and I'm going to follow that recommendation.
What's the brand?
Woodcut.
Oh yeah, woodcut. Okay.
It's from down under.
Mike, each blade cuts just one diameter bowl?
Yes, you can see I've used if you go back, Bob, you can see I've used I think the smallest and the second smallest in doing that particular bowl down there, and the outside one's about 12 inches, something like that, I think. You can adjust the shape a little bit. I think it's somewhat similar to the one-way. I'm not sure. But
Nice tool.
hopefully when we get the mini clinics on the coring systems, we'll be able to see it in one way and the other ones, doing demos on them. All right, Bob. I just threw this on because I I showed you the centerpieces my wife and I are working on for their fundraiser for the Goldfinch painters, and I needed to finish the bottoms of a bunch of 12 and 10-inch plates. So I looked at buying a new Longworth, and they go for about $300. So I bought the plywood pieces already cut for, I think it was $95 plus shipping. And I bought the screws and the rubber pieces from Rockler for, I don't know, $30. So I have a 20-inch diameter Longworth chuck for about $145. I think the metal ones are probably a little more accurate, but I'm only really using it to finish off the bottoms and stuff like that. I like
also,
it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I think Longworth chucks have been around a long time, but I think the important thing I found is getting it set up accurately within the rubber pieces.
Good.
And, moving it around to make sure it's rotating accurately. But that's it, Longworth chuck.
Right. I was going to say, these are also available from Ron Brown at Peachtree, where Ron Brown's best in a variety of sizes. Mine's a 16. I think I paid $130 for it at the show last year. And so I didn't know they made metal ones this big, so I'm glad to see.
Yeah, I believe they do. I don't know how big they are. And then there's also some that are made out of some man-made material. But I didn't want to invest a lot of money, but for that money, I mean, the 20-inch is a lot more expensive than like the 16. I think the 16 you pay like $60, so you get the whole thing for $100.
So Mike, is that like Baltic birch plywood?
Yes, and it's CNC cut, obviously.
Okay.
It works very well. I'm very pleased with it.
Can you compare that to a vacuum chuck?
I haven't got a vacuum chuck, so I can't compare it. But I would think a vacuum chuck would do a lot of things that a Longworth won't do, because basically you've got to have a rim that's consistent with a Longworth. If you had an uneven rim, like a natural edge, you wouldn't be able to do it with a Longworth, I don't think. Whereas with a vacuum, you probably would.
Thank you.
Okay, let's keep moving. Bobby Shepherd.
Yes, the North Jersey woodworkers have one of the guys has a sawmill, and he donated materials so guys can make shop stools. So I got some of it, and I wanted to attach the legs to the seat with the traditional tapered socket. And I didn't have a reamer, so I made one. It's maple with an old leftover saw blade, and that little piece at the end is brass. I turned on my wood lathe to stiffen up the end of it. It's a 6-degree taper. One of the hardest things to do on the lathe is make a straight cut. The taper is straight from end to end. There's not a bow in it. It takes a little time and effort, but got it done. It was kind of a fun project. I still make the.
How did you cut the saw blade?
I used a carbide scraper. Scratched a notch in it and then put it in my vise and snapped it.
Really? Interesting. Wow. Okay. And when you're saying you're making a shop stool, that's about 30 inches tall, 32 inches?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Did you use Pete Galbraith?
Sawmill. He lives in Hawthorne, and he offered. He's been very generous. He just said, "I've got this wood." He likes cutting stuff. He's not so much into making stuff. So he's like, "I've got all this lumber. If you guys want to take some and make some stools, and we'll show them at a later meeting, feel free." So That's what we're doing during the downtime.
Cool. Good for you.
Some of the other guys, Tom, some of the guys are in the club, in the woodworker club. It's a good group. You know, guys should come to some of that meeting. We meet in, when we meet in Pompton Plain.
Neat design. I like.
Hey, Bob Shepard, are you guys doing Zoom meetings now?
Some, not a lot. The design is, I looked up tapered reamer on the internet and I found this. So it's basically a copy of somebody else's, but it works. Did you get the other picture? I put a picture in a block.
No, I'm sorry. I did not put that one down.
Okay, because that actually shows the reamer inside a block. So
Right.
it work. Needs a little work, a little effort to make it work because it's all manual power, beer power, or whatever you want to call.
Cool. Any questions for Bob Shepard?
Can you hear me, Bob?
Yes.
Hey, are you following Pete Galbert's chair blog?
Not recently.
Okay, I was going to say he had plans for all of this stuff, and if you're sliding legs and doing, chair building, or at least the bottom of a stool, he's got some really cool stuff in there for getting the cross pieces drilled straight, and
I think I've looked at, he referenced tapered reamer somebody else was making. I can't remember who, but it was expensive. It was $100 bucks. And
he was trying to make all this for a while, and I don't know what he's making. I haven't talked to him in years, but
okay.
But I know he brought those to Peters Valley when he taught the chair class, and kind of walked us through the whole assembly process. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I've never done tapered sockets on a chair before, so this will be a little different.
They come apart.
It sounds like someone's falling asleep out there. So I'm going to mute everybody. And Kathy Jennings is going to come up. So please just, if you want to speak up, unmute yourself, okay? So let's see. Let me get Kathy. Oops, where's Kathy? Kathy, you still in there? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you talking about Patty or Kathy?
Kathy Jennings.
Patty
Jennings.
Patty.
I'm sorry. Patty Jennings.
I thought Kathy was her sister.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm having a senior moment. Go ahead. Go ahead, Patty.
This is a maple vessel that I made. This is out of maple, and I colored it with a product called Trans Tint that I got from Rockler. And the bottom and the finial is with the Trans Tint, and the lid I colored with Indian ink, and then I finished the whole thing with EE Ultra Shine, Triple E Ultra Shine, and Shallow Wax Cream. So, and I filled the whole powder, all the wormholes. So that's pretty much it on that.
About how big is it, Patty?
It's I think it's about 6 by 6 or so.
Cool. Any questions for Patty? All right.
And this is a platter that I made. It's a craft piece, and I finished it with walnut oil.
Patty, how wide is this?
About 10 inches, maybe.
Stunning. It's a stunning piece of wood. I love the pattern.
Thank you.
Beautiful. What is that wood?
That's maple. Most of what I have is maple.
Gorgeous.
I think from what Patty tells me, she's the most active turner right now. She's cranking out shavings like crazy in the last few weeks.
Done 11 bowls over the last few weeks,
Wow.
and rough turned, I don't know, like 30.
Good for you. Impressive.
Okay. Ready to move on? Okay, Gilberto.
That is a piece of burl. That is from the tree up in Baskin Ridge. It's approximately 3 inches by an inch and a half, 2 inches tall. That's a cherry scrap bowl I made. It's about 3 inches by 2 inches tall. Got a lot of scrap wood. I just been playing around, trying to clean up a lot of things laying around in the shop.
Gil, if you cleaned up your shop, you're going to be working out there another 100 years.
I know. I have another shop.
You got a lot of wood, man.
Next one. That's another cherry vessel. Roughly about 4.5 inches tall, about 2 inches wide at the widest point. All one block of wood.
I think it's a very pleasing shape, and the hat kind of looks like a bishop's hat.
Next one, Bob.
Hold on.
That's a small piece of maple that was laying around the shop, and once again, it's a box. I think I'm really getting into box making. You can always do something out of a block of wood. Little taper on the sides. Another one. That's roughly about 3 inches by 2.5 wide.
Looks like it's got some nice curl in it.
Yes, it does. That's why the reason I'd done the box. Next one, Bob.
Awesome.
That is a piece that was sitting in my shop for the longest, unfinished, and I chose to finish it this past week. The base is separate from the bottom of that round. It's all black walnut. It was a project I started a long time ago on a winged bowl. So without the base, it'll sit just basically get on the wings, and it'll go off tilter one side. I didn't want to present it that way, so I made a base for it to sit in.
Thank you for not breaking your arms. This is
I usually put a piece of tape so that if I get anywhere near it, I hear ta-ta-ta-ta. So
yeah.
safety first. So
really cool. This looks like something Carl Jacobson made. When I saw this, I go, "Oh my God, that is a cool piece."
yeah, I was really pleased with it. It sat around for the longest, but it's finally done.
And how long is it?
Roughly
Wide.
left to right, and the long point's roughly about 12 inches, 11 inches.
Be interesting to put a bird's head on top of that instead of the knob.
Yeah, there you go.
Next
Yeah,
one, Bob.
I mean, this is very stunning. Sorry, Gil, that's all I got. I put 5.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Gil.
No. I'm going to put the other ones on the website. All the others.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Antonucci.
Unmuted. That's better, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
You guys, if you want to switch to the other box, Bob. Nope. Keep going. Do you have another box? No. All right.
No, I'm sorry. That's all I saw.
If you switch to my view, to me, I'm holding the box.
Hold on. I think if you just go into,
You can look at it, in tiny mode. So.
well, yeah, but if hold on, no, let me see how.
If you go to his picture and pin video.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it. Where is it?
Got olives. Well, he didn't put all that stuff in it. He just put pork pieces. But at least he ended up with the
Not the wing one.
Steve, I'm trying to get it in the gallery view.
You can also just double click on his little mini and it'll switch pictures.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, I mean, the individuals, everyone, the audience, if you just double click on Steven's picture, it'll switch pictures.
That's not working. I can see Steven.
All right. Well, we'll just work through
Oh,
it.
yeah, whoa.
I got a good view.
Whoa. I know what's going on. Hold on. Hold on. All right, Steve, go ahead.
There he is.
I had to stop sharing.
You're there, Steve.
All right. And you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the first box that I made. If you guys have seen my dot spindles with the metal tubes, I got a lot of these dots. Like I just sat there with the laser cutter drawing circles, and you just keep flipping wood. So the first thing I learned in doing that was that every one of these woods basically turns black after it's been vaporized by a laser. So you can't tell cherry from Padauk, from red heart, from walnut. So all of those things just sit in a big bin. And I made this little maple box, and it's got dots on the top. And when you're doing this, can you see all the little pinholes in the epoxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a certain point where you just say that's it, it's done. This was at that point. But when I oiled it, you could see how dark the maple got. So the second one that I made, I changed two things. I didn't oil the maple, and I used only one kind of wood in the dots, because I had one sheet that I had taken and just put in, and I didn't use black in the epoxy, but there's a light yellow there. So the second version of this box is just all these little, I think they're red heart. They might be red or bloodwood, but it's red heart or bloodwood, one or the other. And so I got to thinking, and Bob, you only have the one other picture of mine, not the one that I had, the second picture.
Hold on, let me find it again. Where is it?
I thought I only saw three, but I sent you the fourth one under separate cover. So
Yeah, wait a second. Wait a second. Okay, is it this one or this one?
I can only see me.
Oh, okay, you're still.
Yeah, you can leave it here for a second. Well, we could switch. So I make a lot of these spindles. They're parts for my drop spindles. And every time I turn one of these, it gets cut off on the back end. This is held in a chuck. So I have literally an entire drawer of these bits and pieces. Now you can switch back to the other view. And you can share the slides again.
Yeah, hold on a second. And I gotta share. Hold on. Come on, where's the share? You're gonna have to excuse me, guys. Okay.
All right. So go back. Yeah, you can leave it there for now, I guess. So so I took a bunch of those little pieces and I turned these little bullet shapes. And these little bullet shapes are kind of a continuation of my dots with a little bit of texture, and they're inlaid into an opening in, if you want to switch to the last picture.
They look like minions.
So if you look at the top around the outside of that bowl is probably maybe 2008-ish, somewhere in that time frame, and has been sitting in the shop for a while. The base that was under it was terrible, and I looked at it and I was like, eventually I'll go back to that. But the bowl was originally wire wrapped, and the wire wasn't strong enough, and it split, and so I got this idea of kind of circling the bowl with dots. There's 153 of them. Each of them turned in alternating walnut, jatoba, and I think mahogany are the three woods, or maybe it's cherry and mahogany. But there's like a dark brown, a light brown, and a medium brown. And it was an absolutely perfect fit on the last dot when it went in. As the repeat went, light, dark, medium, light, dark, medium, light, all the way around. So there's 153 of those. And I originally counted, I think, 85 of the bullet shapes in the bottom. And then when I took it apart to fill that with epoxy, it had like 10 more holes in it. So I ended up making more in real time and stuffing them in. So there's 260-ish turned pieces in this piece, counting the thing in the middle. And the base of it is just a block that I burned and wire brushed, and it's got some interesting texture to it. But this is going to be like a table bowl where there's a story that goes with it, and I'm going to make some goofy art statement with it at some point. But that's what I've been working on. 8 million dots later, I have 3 pieces.
Did all those dots make you crazy, or would you consider making another one?
Well, while I was sitting here, I actually just took an order for another 40 of these. So I'm going to replenish my stock of these. But I actually consumed about 90% of those. It was an entire drawer, and I used almost all of it in making this. And it might take me another year before I have enough stick leftover pieces to make another one of these.
Steve, how many hours do you think you have into this bowl?
I don't know, 15, 20, something like that.
Okay. I mean, with all the accessory pieces that.
Yeah. I mean, the dots go really fast. I'm making those dots in 30 seconds or less.
Well,
okay.
They get chucked. The end gets turned over, and I part it off and throw it in a box. And there's no measuring. They're whatever size they are. As long as they're round and they fit the hole I was trying to jam it into.
It's striking. I think this is awesome. Probably the nicest piece tonight. Very unique.
So it's not done. I think there might be maybe 1 or 2 more things that I'm going to do to it. But, and then obviously it's got to get all polished up because the bowl's been sitting in the shop for 10 years. And, you don't spend 5 minutes in my shop not covered in dust. So.
Is that milk paint on the bottom?
It is, yeah. It's probably the same green that Jim was using. But it's over a burned surface, so you get a very different color read. And the texture on it. If you go to the other picture, you can see that the grain is just on the edges there. You can see it's not level. So it's a really interesting way to create texture in a piece. Is you basically set it on fire. And the early grain burns out at a different rate than the hardwood. And when you brush it out with a wire brush, you get like a wavy kind of bumpy pattern. Like if you've ever walked on old boards or, looked at old boards where they've been out and weathered, their surfaces get a little uneven, and it's a fast way to get there. But I threw paint over it, and I almost set it on fire and like scrubbed the paint off because I wasn't in love with it. But I sat for a bit, and then I thought, the paint's not so bad. So
It's very cool. Congratulations. All right, ready to move on?
Yep.
We're gonna go with Leonard.
Okay.
We got two things from Leonard.
Right. The first is mahogany. I was given a chunk of mahogany and just decided to turn a bowl. It's about 7 inches in diameter, 3 inches high. And the finish is boiled linseed oil, then a bowl finish from General Finishes. The bands are just burnt with wire. Same wires I had at the woodworking show. Play with.
Nice, Lenny.
And that was my entry into the project showcase at the woodworking show. It's about 12 inches square. It's zebra wood and walnut. And scrap was left over from another platter I had done. The zebra wood pieces were about 1.25 inches thick. And then there's another 3/4 inch thick walnut base underneath that. And yeah, you got to watch out for the wings, and it's kind of scalloped.
I love it.
It's pretty.
Very
I like
nice.
that.
Yeah.
how are the pieces joined?
Glue, tight bond. Yeah, I know it's ingrained to face grain joint. They're holding up fine. There's the base underneath reinforces it, and hopefully the differential expansion isn't there that the joint eventually cracks.
Love it. Did you get a reaction from the zebra wood?
No,
No? Good for you. Yeah. Okay.
I haven't had problems with zebra or Kokubolo.
Yeah. Good for you. Congratulations.
Luck or stupidity, one of the two.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got. I think somebody was going to share their screen. Was it Dennis? There's one I didn't put in. Who else has something?
I have something. I'm sorry. I didn't mail it to you till the last minute, but I could share the screen if you want to see it.
Yeah, please. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I can stop sharing. Okay.
Okay. I haven't done this before. Let's see what happens here. Share screen.
Russ, that's it. Yeah. Okay. Russ, you're on mute.
Sorry. It's saying host disabled attendee screen sharing, so I can't.
Hold on. Let me find you. I got to find you in the gallery here.
My apology. I should have read the email a little better.
Yeah, if I ask for this again, please give it to me with a few hours notice. Where are you on the? I'm looking for you. I don't see you.
Wave, Russ.
In the gallery view, where is he?
He's bottom left on my screen, Bob.
I don't see him.
Or you could check your email and pop that up. I guess I've got it up on my screen.
All right. I just don't see in the gallery view.
Blue shirt, says coupon.
Yep. Wave my hands.
He's here. We see
Oh, there
him.
you, all right, I got you. I got you. There you are.
Dog in the background.
There you
Okay.
go.
All right.
That's better. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys.
Let's see if this works. No. Host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Let me see if I can do that. Oh, one participant. Try that.
I mean, he's at my countenance.
Yes. I'm saying one. Oh, hold on a second. All right. Okay, try it now.
Okay.
That's a new feature. I haven't tried that before.
Desktop 1. Share. I'll zoom share screen. Open system preferences. Maybe we're going to have a problem with this. No, we can do it another time.
Let me see if I can find you in my mail.
Yeah. It's a small project. It's a small project, so maybe it'll be anticlimax here. Or I can hold it up. I have it.
No, I got you.
Okay, there it is.
It's real big. I can't shrink it down.
Okay.
So.
I'd taken a trip to South America in January, and saw people down there drinking this drink called mate. They drink it out of gourds or wooden things. And I wanted to make something like that, but I was trying to figure out how I could do it without, what I would do on the inside. And somebody on the AEW said, use white oak, and you don't have to finish it. And the guy said, well, yeah, I make some shot glasses out of white oak. And he shared a picture, and this is actually a shameless copy, not exactly like his, but I'm not going to sell them, so hopefully that'll be okay. So I hadn't turned white oak before, and it turned very nicely. I made this thing and cut some grooves in it and burned the grooves to make it look like a barrel, and then burned the inside, like it was a whiskey cask. And it's about 3 inches tall. The hole in it is 1 1/8 inches. I just drilled it out and then tried to refine the bottom. And there it is. We'll see. I just finished buffing it today. I have to put some water in it and see what the capacity is. I was shooting for about 2 ounces. I'll make a few of them anyway.
What did you use for the background?
White paper. One of the other guys in the Hudson Valley Woodturners did a demo a year or two ago. He's a professional photographer, and he showed using a fold-up unit with LED lights in the top, and you can put different paper. It comes with different papers in the background. And often I'm a little bit lazy and I don't bother opening this thing up because it takes a while to figure out how to set it up, and when you're done, to close it up again. But it gives you nice lighting. And there's even a shot, I think probably in the email, where I went through the top of the thing. There's a little hatch and you can shoot right down into it too.
Cool.
Nice unit.
Very nice.
Just a simple little thing, but it was fun. I'll do a few more of them for friends and family.
Nice little project.
You can make a pipe out of it too.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Yeah.
And if the inside doesn't work out and I get poisoned, you won't see me again. So I don't know.
All right. Stu, did you have something?
Unmute.
Stu Bauer?
Okay, can you hear me now?
I think you
Yeah.
sent me something. I was looking for it.
It's all right. I can do it this way. You
Okay.
just put me on speaker view or whatever it is I have to be on.
Let me find you.
Tell me when I'm there. Okay. I hadn't made spheres before other than the ball on top of a finial, and I had a piece of 4x4 pine from a deck railing I made. So I said, okay, let's try.
Oh, good for
And
you.
that was the first one.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, good first
Easy
effort.
enough. Then I said, well, how about something smaller? So I had another scrap and I made another one. And then,
Were you doing this by eye?
oh, totally by eye.
Damn.
And then I decided, okay, what if I take it, where am I? There. And hollow it, and it becomes, well, it could be a salt cellar, but I made it a paperclip holder for my desk. This is a piece of cherry, flat on the bottom, so it sits, like that.
Do you have a magnet in there, or are they just in there?
No, they're just sitting in there because when it's sitting flat,
Okay.
it's on a tilt. I don't know if you can see it. There it is.
Yeah.
And the process is really simple. You turn the whatever your blank is till it's round, and then you measure the circumference, not the diameter rather, with a caliper. Measure that, and then do it crosswise from the center line that you just marked, and use a parting tool on one side and cut it down till you've got enough to leave a tenon, and you round it out by eye. And I used a heavy paper that I cut into the semicircle, and I got like 2/3 of it, just as a template. And from there, I turned it around to put the tenon in, started turning the other end, and then drilled a hole to get that hole, and hollowed it out with a scraper and a bow gouge till I got where I wanted it to be. Rounded that out completely, turned it around again, rechucked it in the hole, and then rounded out the other side, and then sanded the flat on the bottom on a belt sander. But it was pretty quick. The whole thing could be done in probably an hour.
Good for you.
So it was fun.
Good. You got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Let's see.
Bob, I've got a couple of things I could show. I also didn't send in the photos, but
Who's this? Who's talking? Who's talking?
Gary M.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me find you. Come on. I'm looking for you on the.
Might be a couple of screens in.
Does anybody see Gary?
I see
there
my.
you are. I see. Okay. All right, there you are.
Okay. I've been wanting to learn to turn bowls, so I've been playing at that for the last couple of weeks. I'm fairly new at this, so be gentle. Can you see them now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Mostly I've been green turning some bowls. The first 3 here are maple, I believe, from a tree that fell on a neighbor's yard late last year. The biggest one's about 6 inches in diameter. I'm working on a Delta MIDI, so it's going to be hard for me to get a finished product too much bigger than that. But I'm just playing with different shapes, seeing what I can get away with before, they start to crack. Getting a little bit of warpage because they were green turned. They're still unfinished and drying. First ones are a little thicker than I would have liked, and I quickly learned I have no patience for sanding. But ultimately, I guess that'll force my tool technique to get better. The last 2 green turned ones were ash that a neighbor had taken out last week. Pretty happy with the last one here. It's a nice uniform 1/4 inch thickness, the one on the right. Happier with the shape. It's smaller diameter, maybe 5 inches across, 2.5 inches tall. I did turn one from dry wood. The one that's finished was a big limb of pin oak, I think, that fell a few years ago here, almost took out my wife's car. So I finally got around to turning that. Fairly nasty to work with compared to the green turn wood. It was like turning cast iron that had a tear out problem. But at least that one's stable wood. And along the way, I had a bit of holly from a holly bush I took out. So I did one small mushroom. Here it was also green turned, so it's splitting a bit, but yeah, fairly happy with it. So that's what I've been up to probably for the last 2 weeks.
Welcome to the rabbit hole of wood turning.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you storing them after you finish them?
Storing them, well, the green turn ones aren't finished. They're just natural wood right now. I'm letting them dry for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, are you doing anything, or are they just sitting out in the open?
They're just sitting out in the open. I know that, letting them cure in a paper bag or in a bag full of shavings might be better, but these were kind of experimental anyway, so I haven't been taking great care with them.
These aren't bad, and you're going to be getting better and better and better. So, welcome.
Yeah,
to the
hope
club.
so.
Yeah, welcome to the club. Good for
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else got anything? Let me see. Hold on.
I would like to ask the group a question.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Wait a second. So this is what I've been working on lately. This is my Rambo knife. I sent a link to the video a little while ago. This thing is about 15 inches long. And it's not turned, but it was fun to make. I needed help from two buddies. I needed one buddy to help braze the brass around the knife. And then I needed another buddy, Jim Palliani, who used to be in the club. He made that Kydex sheath for me. This came out pretty nice. So now I got something I can cut my ring bologna with.
What kind of steel's in it, Bob?
It's a O2 steel.
Okay. Was it hardened when you got it?
The guy who gave it to me said it's already hardened.
Okay.
So I didn't mess with heating it up with my acetylene tank. Right. It's really more for just to play with, you know, it's not going to get a lot of use. Right.
Yeah, but it could be if you wanted.
Yeah. So that's just fun to make. I got after I made that wooden Predator knife a few weeks ago, I said, well, the wooden one was real easy. Let me try to make some out of metal. So it's fun. Keeps me busy. All right. Now, somebody had a comment on the question?
Yeah, I did. Not on that, but on material for mini clinic. If the group would be interested in learning how to make a cam handle, and this is a cam handle, a commercial one that you just insert your gouge in it. Sorry about this. And it fits right in, slides right in, tightens. And this is really great for portable storage. One handle for many, many, many blades. And great for sharpening because it just dismantles and pops out. This one's a little tight. So it bugged me for a long time. How do they make it? I learned how to make it. And I think it might be of interest to the club. I made one using PVC and a wood dowel that works fine. And I also made one out of aluminum, which all this is easy in the wood shop, can be made in the wood shop. So I was thinking that, hey, I needed a small one for my collection. Maybe the group would be interested.
How does the cam work?
Show
the cam.
Okay, the cam.
Because you need an off-center circle, right?
What I did was I took a dowel, and here's the other part of the dowel. This is a 1-inch dowel, and this is a 1-inch PVC. So I took the dowel, and I drilled. My standard is 3/4 of an inch. Everything is going to be 3/4 of an inch because I have many boring bars that are 3/4 of an inch, and I make a sleeve for any gouge. Most gouges will fit in the sleeve after you drill it. So the way you make the cam is you take the wood and you drill it off center. Then you cut half of it or a piece of it and the other piece so that it will be off center. It'll be 100% meeting. Both circles will meet at only 1 point, 1 degree of the 360. They just rotate it and it tightens it.
Show both ends of the small piece. No, the smaller piece. So it's flush, almost flush there, and not flush. Okay, that makes sense.
So it rotates around. The commercial version, if you may. You can't see it, but
same idea.
Same idea. Took me a while to figure this out, but
All right. So how'd you make the aluminum one? Same way?
same way. I took a 1-inch piece of aluminum that fit into a 1.01 piece of aluminum tube, and I drilled that offset. I didn't do it on a wood lathe though. I drilled that on my friend's little mini metal lathe, but I just use a one-way and a couple of shims, 2 shims on 2 jaws, and just tighten it, and it's offset by whatever the shim is, 64th of an inch or something like that.
Okay. So handles like this are really good for cost, right? You don't have to buy 20 handles or whatever.
Plus
Right.
you can cam
Are easy to sharpen.
portability.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're traveling. So
And if you're stuck on wood, you could still segment over the piece. And I haven't finished this, but I'm telling you, the PVC is wonderful for spindle gouges. And
Yeah, I bet.
small gouges, really light. I just like the way it feels. And the one that I was supposed to work on for today was I was going to use I had a piece of aluminum vitae. I was going to make that use that as a dowel. So group, you want to see this as part of tool making?
As a mini clinic, you mean?
As part of a mini clinic, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure, thank you. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's volunteered to do the mini clinics. Right? So I think it's cool and it's a good way to stick together. So anybody else have anything they want to share? I'll tell you one thing I'm really bummed out about this year is we're not going to be able to have the picnic. The last 2 were a lot of fun. Let's see.
Well, Bob, maybe we could do it a little later in the season.
Yeah, I mean, if
We'll do it in the fall.
if people are feeling comfortable by then, I know. I was talking to my wife and daughter; they're going to continue wearing masks till a vaccine is presented. So, but they were a lot of fun, and certainly the whole club is a lot of fun. How about Carol Pastor? You got anything, Carol?
I'm working on something, but it's still on my lathe.
Okay. All right. Well, if no one else has anything, thanks.
Hey, Bob.
Coming. Yeah. What?
Hey, it's Steve. Just a last minute reminder for my mini clinic on Saturday.
Yes.
So if you like building tools and you want to build a hollowing system, should need about a half an hour. It's a simple build, and you can have a hollowing system for about $4 worth of parts.
Can't we spend $400 for a Lyle Jameson?
You can.
You won't get one for 400.
So, and I'll give you the whole backstory on the start of the meeting, but it started with a conversation with Lyle about 15 years ago. So.
All right, thank you, Steve. Good plug.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
I'll be sending out the invite for that in a couple days.
Mike, I'll be in touch with you on the clinic.
Thank you, Gil. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It'll be July. But
Okay.
we're doing great. Thanks to everybody for volunteering.
I sent Bob an email about what I could do. Did he pass it on?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, guys, that's a wrap.
I'll be doing the laser system.
Right.
Aluminum extrusions.
Yeah, very good. All right, get a hold of Mike. If you don't know his address, shoot me one. I'll forward it on. So.
Good night, everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye, guys and gals.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you, everybody.
Good seeing everybody.
Bye-bye.